are from Group 1 and today we will talk about morphology and the aspect of words. My name is Febi Putri Hikmah and I will be starting our discussion. Okay, let's begin with morphology. Morphology is the study of how words are structured and formed by combining morphemes, which are the smallest meaningful units of a word. These morphemes can also appear in different forms. These variations are called allomorphs. When we put morphemes together, we build words. For example, take the word unhappy. It contains two morphemes, un, meaning not, and happy. When combined, they create a completely a new word with a different meaning. This helps us to understand not only how words are formed, but also how their meanings change. So now that we know morphology deals with the structure of words, let's define what a word is. A word is a speech sound or a combination of sounds or even its representation in writing that symbolizes and communicates meaning and can stand on its own. For example, when I say the word tree, you might not just hear the sound tree, but you could immediately imagine the object, the shape, or even the color. So that is word. They connect sound and meaning in a way that allow us to communicate. A word can be very simple like book or run, which each have only one morpheme, but words can also be complex like dogs, which has two morphemes. This shows that words are flexible. They can stand alone, but they can also grow and change meaning. But to truly know a word, it is not enough to just recognize it. There are 7 aspects of words that we need to consider. I will explain the first aspect, which is spelling. So, what is spelling? That should be easy for you. Spelling is how a word is written. It is the process or activity of forming the letters of a word. It shows the arrangement of letters that represent the sounds of a word. Let's make some examples. For word beautiful is spelled Beautiful. And for the word friend is spelled Friend. Even the word spelling itself is spelled Spelling. Let's start more examples. The word environment is spelled Environment. Another one is knowledge, Knowledge, which is the K is silent. And a tricky one is psychology, Psychology, where the P is silent, psychology. Spelling can also vary across countries. For example, in American English, we write color as COLOR, but in British English, it's spelled color, COLOUR, with an extra U. Both are correct, but the spelling depends on the variety of English being used. So spelling is important because it ensures that when we write, people understand exactly which word that we mean. If we misspell, we can change the meaning of a word. For example, form and from are one only letter apart, but they completely mean very different things. Spelling is also important in practical situations. For example, when we introduce ourselves, we often spell our names to make sure the other person gets it right and avoid confusion. In writing, correct spelling shows professionalism and clarity. Even in technology, like when we search for something online, one wrong letter can lead us to completely different results. So overall, spelling may look very simple, but it actually plays a very big role in communication. It gives words a stable written form that everyone can recognize. Without correct spelling, our writing would be unclear and misunderstandings would happen more often. Okay, that's all for my part. I will hand it over to the next member who will continue with the other aspects.
Hello, my name is Raza Zahiawardana, and I would like to explain about 2 aspects which are pronunciation and syllabification. Pronunciation. The definition of pronunciation is the way a certain sound or sounds are produced. It includes the way we make speech sounds, the parts of a word we stress, and the rise and fall of our voice when we speak. It often follows rules about how words should be said correctly. Pronunciation is about both saying words and hearing them, so we can understand each other. To pronounce words, we push air from our lungs up through our throat and vocal cords through our mouth, past our tongue, and out between our teeth and lips. But sometimes air also travels through our nose. To change the sound that we are making, we mainly use the muscle of our mouth, tongue, and lips to control the shape of our mouth and the flow of air. If we can control the shape of our mouth and the flow of air correctly, then our pronunciation is clearer and other people understand us more easily. Also, articulation and pronunciation are often considered similar because both relate to producing speech sounds, but they have distinct focuses. Pronunciation stresses more the way sounds are perceived by the hearer, while articulation refers to the actual production of speech sounds in the mouth. For further explanation, articulation is about forming individual sounds. Pronunciation is about how these sounds are put together to form words in a specific language, including the rhythm, stress, and intonation. Think of articulation as the way we hit the notes in a song, and pronunciation as how we sing the melody. Both need to work together harmoniously for clear and effective speech. They are indeed similar but not the same. They are similar because articulation is necessary for correct pronunciation. You can't pronounce words correctly without articulating sounds properly. However, you can articulate sounds but still have incorrect pronunciation if the sounds are not put together accurately as per the language standards. Next, I will provide examples with phonetic transcription. Apple, apple. Happy, happy. Meaning, meaning. Music, music. Picture, picture. And next, syllabification. The definition of syllabification is the process of dividing a word into smaller parts, which known as syllables, based on the sounds the word makes. Syllable is a unit in a speech which is often longer than one sound and smaller than a whole word and usually contains one vowel sound. For example, first, locomotive. Locomotive. It has 4 syllables. And second, sensible. Sensible. It has 3 syllables. And the third, terminology. Terminology. It has 5 syllables. But remember this important thing. The syllabification of the spelling of a word can differ from the syllabification of its pronunciation, because spelling shows how a word is written, while pronunciation shows how it is actually spoken. For example, the word stylistics. Syllabification in spelling is stylistics, and the syllabification in pronunciation is stylistics. The first syllable of the spelling is style. It's how we write it, style. But the first syllable of the pronunciation is sty. For spelling syllabification, the first syllable ends with the letter L, style. While for pronunciation syllabification, it ends with the I sound, sty. And yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone, my name is Fabulous Tari and I would like to explain two essential aspects of words in morphology: word class and meaning. Word class, also known as part of speech, refers to groups of words that share similar grammatical rules and behave in comparable ways within sentences. This classification helps us understand not only how words function individually, but also how they combine to form meaningful phrases and sentences. There are several standard word classes. 1. Noun. These are words that name people, place, things, or ideas. For example, friend, university, freedom. Example sentence: my friend is studying at a university. Here, friend and university are nouns, representing a person and a place. 2. Verb. This word express action or state of being. For example, run, think, and sleep. Example sentence: she runs every morning and thinks deeply about her goals. Runs and thinks are verbs showing actions, while it indicates a state of being. 3. Adjective. These describe a feeling or modify nouns. For example, excellent, sad, and happy. Example sentence: she gave an excellent presentation. Here, excellent describe the quality of the presentation. 4. Adverb. These modify verbs. Adjective or other adverbs often show answering question like how, when, where, or to what extent. For example, quickly, very, and yesterday. Example sentence: he quickly finished his homework. The adverb quickly tells us how he finished his homework. Other important word classes include pronouns. Words like he, she, they, which replace nouns to avoid repetition. Example: Jenny said she will come later. She replaced Jenny. 6. We have preposition. Words that show relationships between nouns or pronouns and other parts of sentence, often indicating time or place. For example, in, on, at. Example: the book is on a table. 7. Conjunction. Words that connect words, phrases, or clauses, such as and, but, because. Example: I want to go, but I was too tired. 8. Articles. Words like an, they use before nouns to define them as specific or unspecific. Example: I saw a cat and a dog in the garden. 9. Numerals. Words representing numbers such as 1, 2, or first. Example: she has two brothers. 10. Quantifier. Words indicating quantity without specifying at the exact number, like some, many, few. Example: many students attend the lecture. 11. Interjection. Words expressing emotion or reaction, usually standing alone. For example, wow, oh, ouch. Example: wow, that was an amazing performance. By understanding word classes, we can better analyze and construct sentences that are grammatically correct and meaningful. Now, let's move to the study of meaning in language, known as semantic. Semantics is concerned with what language expresses about the real world or any imagined world. It involves analyzing how words, phrases, and sentences convey meaning. For example, consider the word bank. Semantics studies how this word can have different meanings depending on context. She sat on the bank of the river. He deposited money in a bank. Here, bank means a river bank in the first sentence and a financial institution. In the second, semantics also explores how meaning change when words are combined. For instance, fast car means a car that moves quickly. Fast food refers to food that is prepared and served quickly, not that the food can actually move fast. Beyond individual word semantics examines sentence meaning and how context influence interpretation. In summary, semantics help us understand not just what words mean, but how meaning is created, changed, and communicated in language. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Tesalina Amira, and here I'm gonna continue the explanation about subcategorization, which is one important aspect of words, especially verbs and adjectives. When we think about words, we usually just focus on their meaning. For example, the verb eat means to consume food, but actually, words don't just carry meaning. They also carry rules about how they can be used in a sentence. This is what we call subcategorization. So, what is subcategorization here? In a simple terms, subcategorization is the information stored inside a word that tells us what kind of complements that word needs. It's like each word comes with its own grammar frame that shows us after this word what must follow. Okay, let's look at some examples. Here we take the verb love. You can't just say I love. That sounds incomplete. The verb love requires a noun phrase after it, like I love Visa or I love my friend. So, the subcategorization frame for love is verb plus noun phrase. Now, compare that with the verb put. If you say I put, it doesn't work. Even I put the book, it still feels unfinished. That's because put requires not only a noun phrase, but also a prepositional phrase, usually showing location. So, we have say, I put the book on the table. The frame here is a verb plus noun phrase plus prepositional phrase. Now, let's move to the adjective. Adjectives also have subcategorization. For example, the adjective afraid. We don't just say, I'm afraid. Usually, we need more. We can say, I'm afraid of dogs. Here, it's followed by a prepositional phrase. Or, I'm afraid that she cannot go there. Here, it's followed by a clause. So, the adjective afraid allows both a prepositional and a clause as it complements. This shows us that subcategorization is not about meaning alone, but also about the structure that the word requires. Now, let's make it clearer. Here we have 4 categories. First one, some verbs are intransitive, meaning they don't need any complement, like sleep or write. For example, she sleeps. Second, some verbs are transitive, needing one noun phrase, like eat. For example, I eat rice. And the third, some are distransitive, needing two objects, like give. For example, she gave me a book. And last, some verbs are take a clue, like think. For example, I think that she is right. So, in short, subcategorization is an aspect of words that tells us their syntactic frame. It answers the question, what does this word require after it? Without following these frames, our sentences become ungrammatical or incomplete. That's why subcategorization is such an important part of word knowledge. Because knowing a word is not only knowing what it means, but also knowing how to use it correctly in a sentence.
And the last topic is about etymology. Before I explain to you about etymology, sometimes I introduce myself. My name is Hazia Naila Rahmi. Do you know about etymology? So, etymology is a branch of linguistics that studies the origin of words, their historical development, and the shift in their form and meaning over time. It reveals that words are not static but dynamic, and it is shaped by history, culture, and social interaction. Importance of etymology. 1. Tracing the origin of word. Identifies from which language a word comes, Old English, Latin, French, Greek. Like example, school, but from Latin schola, which means place of learning. And 2. Recording changes in form. Shows how spelling or pronunciation evolves. Like example, fixed in modern English, but in Old English, vice. And 3. Explaining semantic change. Words can be narrow, broaden, or even reverse their meaning. Like example, meat in modern English, but meat in Old English, which means food in general. But now, animal flesh used as food. And 4. Reflecting cultural and historical influence. English vocabulary has been deeply influenced by invasion, trade, colonization, and cultural contact. Like example, balcony in Italian, shampoo in Hindi, and magazine in Native American. And last, having contextual understanding. By knowing etymology, we understand why a word is used in a certain way. Like example, robot from Zage robota, which means forced labor. Introduce chorales, play r.u.r. Type of change in etymology. 1. Form change. Spelling and sound evolve. Like the example, knight was knight, but now night. And 2. Semantic shift. 1. Narrowing. Like the example, girl. Girl, which means a young person, but now female child. And 2. Broadening. Like the example, holiday, which means holiday, but now unification. And 3. Amelioration. Like the example, knight shifted servant to noble warrior. And 4. Figuration. Figuration, like the example, Chile shifted to blessed, but now to foolish. And 3. Borrowing. Sometimes English adopt words from other language, like the example, kindergarten. Kindergarten from Germans, and karaoke from Japanese. And 4. Evonyms. Evonyms, word derived from names, like the example, sandwich. Sandwich from Earl of Sandwich, and jeans from Genoa, Italy. Illustrated example, sandwich. Sandwich, often named Earl of Sandwich, as I said before, who ate meat between bread so he wouldn't have to leave this gambling table. And muscle. Muscle from the Latin word little mouse, as a flexing bicep was thought to resemble a mouse moving under the skin. And clue. Clue from the Greek myth, where a clue, a ball of yarn, were used to navigate a maze. So, etymology deepens our understanding of language as a dynamic system shaped by human civilization. The study of the 7 aspects of the word provides us with a holistic understanding of what it truly means to know a word. A word is not only a sequence of letters or sounds, it is a multidimensional unit of language. Form-based aspect, spelling, pronunciation, and syllabification ensure that we can recognize, pronounce, and write words accurately. Structural aspect, word class, and subcategorization reveal how words function grammatically and syntactically within sentence. And semantic aspect, meaning and etymology, to uncover the concept that words express, as well as their historical development and cultural significance. In short, to truly know a word is to see it not just a symbol of communication, but as a bridge between language, history, and human expression. So, that's all the 7 aspects of the word. We hope this explanation help you to see that knowing a word is more than just memorizing it. It is understanding about its form, its meaning, and even its history. From us, thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this material. See you next time. Bye bye.